Okay, what you see here is a 1997 Ford Fairmont Ghia made in Australia from 1996 till 1998, when there was the introduction of the next model, which was the AU. This is the last of the E series, which started in 1988 as the EA, and has some commonalities, but by this last generation was actually quite a good automobile. This one is a Fairmont Ghia, which is the top of the line of the Falcon size, which is your standard four-door sedan. The next size up was the Fairlane and LTD, which had a longer wheelbase. This one we purchased approximately a year ago for just under 3,500 Australian dollars. Had a few issues with it, as most E-Series do by this time. It's now 2022. So we purchased this, well, it's 2023 actually. Purchased this at the end of 2021. There was a bit of clear coat that was coming off the bonnet of the car and the boot of the car, so whilst we were infected with COVID, we decided to spray paint the bonnet and the boot. However, a car of this age with the metallic paint and having been faded, it was difficult to get the right colour, but we've tried our best for novices. It's not doing too bad. My son has made some modifications himself. He's just got his P-plates this year. He purchased the car from me, paid it off, and with that he's also put on some 17-inch shark fin rims, which are an option on this car. Also came out standard on the 1997-98 model XR8s, which is a sports version, and XR6s. These are shod with Bob Jane's Xenon Z7s, which is a fairly cheap tyre in Australia. And they are currently 225 16, sorry, not 17, 16s. So we did away with the 15-inch Ghia rims. So this has actually changed the speedo out a little bit. It reads 5Ks above what you're actually doing. So it's good for a P-plater, so he doesn't lose his license. Had a few little modifications as well. He's put on a sports exhaust, which is a 2.5-inch system. Yesterday we actually put extractors and a shortened high-flow cat on it, which has made it sound quite good. He's also paid, so we paid about $200 for the rims, $100 for the half of the exhaust system, $200 for the headers, $168 for the cat. And then last year also he bought some shortened lowered suspension off a slightly older model XR8, and that's lowered at about an inch or so, which has made it have a good looking stance. Inside the car comes equipped with leather seats. This is the cappuccino colour. Cappuccino colour we found to be quite common. However, a lot of the plastics, the cappuccino interior, including the seat belts, actually deteriorate in the hot sun, especially here in Western Australia, and therefore we've had a few things that have broken or fretted in the sun. This has actually been optioned up with a, well, as we did, actually from a DF LTD, we put in the walnut trim, the armrests, and a bit of the walnut trim on the inside of the dash. When we purchased the car, it had done 198,000 kilometres. We're now at about 215,000 kilometres. 213,000 kilometres, which is not bad for its age. Back seats are in good condition. The hood lining, which is common for most Falcons of this age, falling down, hasn't. It's in good condition. Slight blemishes here and there, but it's not too bad. There's a little bit of wear in the seats, a couple of stitches up the top here that have come undone, and one on the driver's side as well. But overall, the interior is in very good condition for its age. The engine in this model, because it's a Ghia, it came equipped with a 6-cylinder Tickford enhanced engine. You can tell it's one of those by its red rocker cover, makes it go faster. Apart from that and the header pipes, that's all that's been done to this engine. These obviously came out with optional V8, which is the 5-litre fuel injected. And this one runs very smoothly and has BTR gearbox, which is a very strong 4-speed Ford gearbox. Well, not a Ford gearbox, but a gearbox that I put into a lot of Falcons over the years, starting from about 1989. This engine runs very smooth. It's fairly quiet, apart from the exhaust. E-Series though are susceptible to a little bit of rust. Just in the top here, just at the bottom, next to the strut there was some rust on the inside here, so we've had to plate that to make it look a little bit nicer. And we've had to do a couple other things. We've replaced the power steering line with a new one, and also the power steering switch down the bottom there. You should be able to see there. That was also leaking as well when we first got it, so we've replaced that as well. And that was relatively easy to do. We've had a few problems with headlights. Had problems with them going opaque, so they get cleaned quite regularly, just with our hot sun here. Also, the headlights kept turning off, so they found out there was a relay, which the relay switches are in strange positions on these cars. There's some relays here, and there's also some relays underneath this cover here next to the battery, and I still couldn't find that particular relay. That's where it should have been, but it was actually underneath the water tank, up against the side here. So I don't think you can see, well, you might be able to see just down here under the water tank, there's some relays under there as well. Turns out it was one of those, or attached to one of those. Common of the age is the struts. On this one, had both the struts in the front and the boot. Had to be replaced because they kept on hitting me in the head every time I put the bonnet up, or the boot. The boot ones are hidden away a little bit. Difficult to see where they are, but I can't actually show you at the moment. Okay, so the boot struts are actually up the inside here. You can see just up in here, they just have clips that pull in and pull out. This one had optional premium stereo, which had a CD player, which is still in situ here. We probably will pull it out, doesn't work anymore, very hard to get parts for nowadays. And we've had to put some other speakers in the back and also in the doors, and it does have a subwoofer speaker as well. This does come with a full-size spare, as most Australian cars do because of our rugged outback, and this has got the original Ghia rim as a spare, came with all its tools as well, which is good, and also the carpet for the boot. As with all cars, put in a fire extinguisher just to be careful, just in case, you never know when you might use it. One of the things that is common with these cars is the switching mechanism for the power windows. This is one that we pulled out of the DF LTD. This is obviously in black because the DFs were black. Because I'd say it's a design fault by Ford, because of where the switching mechanism is located. There's a propensity for it to get dust, dirt, and also liquids in it, because it's right near the cup holders. Okay, and these cup holders are cup holders from 1997, so they don't fit all receptacles nowadays. But anyway, they get liquid in them, and it tends to short out the solders. And I have seen this in another video, which is the person that actually put me onto this from a EB version. But normally when you have problems with your power windows, this would be one of the first places to check to make sure the switching mechanism is working properly. So this one does work. So Sam's actually put this in as a spare in his boot, because we've had it actually fail twice on us now, the original one. So we just had to find, with a good set of glasses or magnifying glass, where the cracked weld is, and just resolder it, and it's fixed the windows. We've replaced one window winder mechanism on the inside of the passenger left door. These unfortunately are riveted in, so you have to break the rivets, and they're quite difficult to put back in. But we've had to replace one of those. They're about $180 to replace for the winding mechanisms. But that's what happens when we put power windows in cars. Yeah. So this one, as I obviously had the clear coat problem with the boot. Got a few other things. Paint matching is difficult. There was some rust around the side here that we've replaced, repainted, fixed up the rust there. It wasn't hold rust, it was just surface rust, so we've had to put a little bit of filler there. We had some rust problems down the bottom of the sill, which is a very typical E-Series problem. In the bottom of the sill here, but importantly on the inside of the sill. So on the inside of the sill, you should always feel, if you're buying one of these cars, always feel the inside, because there will be a hole in there if it hasn't been repaired. Okay, so make sure you don't have any holes under that section there. Usually in the front part. And there's actually 3 layers of steel there. We've had to replace the internal layer as well on both sides. So the outside, the inside, internal, and the one on the outside on the inner part of the sills. That was a bit of a job, must admit. Do not have a hoist here, so makes it difficult. But overall, the car runs really nicely for its age. For the price we paid for it, and the young bloke will hopefully get good motoring out of it. We put tinted windows on as well, just so we're not a goldfish bowl. In Western Australia it's extremely hot here in summer, so this is to have a bit more comfort. We've had to get the air conditioning regassed. That now works okay. We have to address the heater in winter. It's got a bit of an issue there. There's sometimes a bit of noise that comes out of the power steering pump. This one's not too bad. Also there's the water pump and a couple of follower pulleys that can give you noise. But overall not too bad. You can get aftermarket air cleaners to keep the coppers away from you. You just keep the original one in here at the moment. The aftermarket air cleaners really do bugger all to any more economy on this type of engine, unless you start, mucking around with your engine, whether it's economy or power or anything like that. He's also put on the airbox accessory here. I don't know whether that actually works or does anything, because the grille is solid. So, but that's what the XR8s and other cars we have. So he found one of those and so installed that into the airbox. Doesn't seem to have made any difference whatsoever. Brakes are standard 4-wheel discs on a Fairmont Ghia. They're in good condition. They're just your standard brakes, there's nothing special about them, but they work very well. Overall, a good clean package, and he'll probably get a couple of years use out of this, and eventually we'll have fixed our F100. Well, I hope you understood and enjoyed what you saw, and we'll hopefully post a couple of videos up about some other things that we do to the car.